Sanibonani guys, welcome back to Ebioscope with me, Mary Kate Masilela. So if you're new to the gang, please do not forget to subscribe and of course do like. So today we're very fortunate that we were speaking to the rising star Bugzito, who does Kwaito, and today we were interviewing him about his acting in Matwetwe. The story is based in Pretoria. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Okay, so welcome to Ebioscope Sessions with me, Mary Kate Masilela. Thank you for being part of the show. And yeah, let's start. Can you tell us about your hip-hop career? How did that come about? And also like your acting, because I also see here that you also do Muvango. You're actually like widespread.
Yeah. So, I mean, with hip-hop, it comes a long way, you know. I mean, growing up, initially, I was listening to a lot of Kwaito music when I was growing up. I was a big fan of Duma Silela and TKZ, to be specific, you know, Vokale, Lobotokolo. And then it's something that I really wanted to do, you know. And then a friend of mine that introduced me to Tupac Shakur, the late Tupac Shakur. And I really felt I gravitated towards the kind of artist that he was, because it was for the first time I could hear such expression of music, you know, where a person really just was so honest in his delivery, and also you could feel the emotion of what this guy was saying, and he could really like break it down into like 3 verses. Because now with Kwaito, everything was very simplified. So even if there's a deep message in it, but it's very simplified and so repetitive, you know. But then hip-hop then gives you the platform to kind of like explain it and break it down and answer the questions who, where, why, when, how, you know. So that I became very attracted to that kind of art. And then that's when I really started, you know, trying to get my way through. And I think I recorded my first song in 2004. I was in grade 10 at the time, when we were using these you know, very bad quality microphones. My friend just got a PC, you know, and we were recording songs, burning them on CDs and giving them to everyone who have cars, to pump them in their cars, you know. So that was how it began, you know. But then initially, I think it was in 2008 or 2009. I got a beat from a guy called TK, who's part of a crew called Benchmark. He gave me a beat, and then I did a song called Feel Die Groovers, and that would be the first song that would really like get me proper recognition throughout Pretoria, and kind of like shot my first music video for that song. And from there on, that's when now people started reckoning with this guy called Bugzito. Now it's like, okay, now all of a sudden, you know, there was this whole thing that was happening. And yeah, I never stopped since then. I've been going ever since. And even now, I have 2 of my songs on the Matwetwe movie that we just have out now.
What are the names?
One of the songs is called Sena. It features llzTitan and Razor the Kid. It's produced by Zuchi Coke Dope. The other song is called Marathon, also featuring llzTitan. Both of them are available on digital platforms, and you can also find you can also stream them on YouTube as well. So these are the 2 songs that I have on the movie. One of them, Sena, is actually the song that they use on the trailer. The song that's playing on the trailer. That's Sena. Yes, and then Marathon plays in the movie.
Congratulations, that sounds amazing. But I can tell that the reason being for you to even be there is your Pretoria like lingo, your essence and stuff like that. Can you tell us as an actor, how did you bring that about to the movie?
To the movie. I mean, the movie is a very Pretoria movie in the sense of even the way Kagiso Lidiga went about looking for us. He looked for a guy, someone who would help him get actors, which is a friend of ours called Bongani Masango, who I went to tertiary with, because I did drama. I graduated BTech drama at the Tshwane University of Technology, TUT. So Bongani was my schoolmate. So then Bongani is the one who kind of like called each and every one of us to come, saying that there's an audition for a movie. Then we get there, we find Kakisolidi, and you're like, okay, what's happening here? You know. Then he explains to us that, no, guys, I want to do a movie. I've had this idea since I was like in my mid-20s, early 20s, coming of age. I've always wanted to do a movie about Atteridgeville and explain the concept and whatnot. And then he just kind of like interviewed us one by one, asking us who we are, what we are all about, and then we just spoke. And then we were not even aware that was the audition process, because then he's like, okay, cool, guys, thank you, I have what I need. And like, oh, but what's the audition? It's like, no, don't worry, you know. And then he called us back for a callback the next time and gave us scenarios to improv. And then he kind of like explained the kind of characters he wants us to play. So I think then to go back to your question, the Pretoria essence then came from there. Then he could already tell when we were in this room, when he was interviewing us, what kind of individuals we were, the kind of rhythm that we have as individuals, and the kind of characters that he could see when he saw us. So I think then he then went to kind of like develop his story further, because he had the story as a structure, but he just got an idea to kind of like maybe add 2-3 more characters, or maybe give this character this kind of a dynamic which he wasn't thinking of initially. You know, just to add to the nuances of the characters and what they represent and what they're all about. And I think then through that he was able to find the kind of colors that he was looking for all these characters. And so the Pretoria culture is very, very then predominant. I mean, actually, it is a Pretoria movie with an unknown cast altogether. A majority of the cast, 99% of the cast, are people that have never been seen before, you know, and they're just there in this movie, and they are very authentic. They're very authentic with the portrayal of these characters, and most of them also, which is a very nice thing, are people who actually went to school and actually graduated in this field, which is something that we hardly ever hear of, you know, because
it's actually quite interesting that you guys in your first week you produced 2 million rand on sales, and you guys are an unknown cost. How does that feel?
But you know, it's very exciting, because it says to us that talent actually speaks more than popularity. You get what I'm saying? Because the thing is, we've been sold this idea that in order to sell, you need to be a known face, but no one ever thinks of selling the product. You know what I'm saying? It's like people don't want to take out their money and invest on selling the product, but they want to find a product that's automatically going to sell. And I think in recent days, we've been finding that it's not always the case. There's so many things that I have seen whereby there were so many familiar faces, but the product just wasn't living up to what it was supposed to live up to, because now the story gets compromised, because you are looking for a certain individual who's easy to sell, and then maybe on the first 2-3 days you'll get viewers because people are curious, but then after that they find that the story becomes very flawed, and then, you know what I'm saying. So I think then with Matwetwe, what happened was that there has been the people just saw this hype happening, and they're like, okay, what is this Matwetwe thing? And then the movie finally came out, and then some of them are like, oh, Kantiki movie, this Matwetwe. They're like, hey, let's go see what this hype is all about. Then they go and see the movie, and they're like, hey, man, can't you blind this all? You know, like, who are these people? You know, and then they're like, then it's like, I think then what happens is that a whole word of mouth starts happening. Because, I mean, on social media, there were a couple of people who were trying to be on some, no, but it wasn't well marketed. I'm like, but how did you find out about it if it wasn't well marketed? How did it reach you? Because, I mean, the fact that you know about it means that something was done right. The fact that, you know, the message did reach you. But then even the same skeptics are the same people who go and watch and tell their people that, yo, guys, there's this movie that's happening with, you know, people that we don't know. And I mean, the nice thing is that we need to remember that Matwetwe is an independent movie in a sense of...
How was it like working with Black Coffee?
Yes, I mean, Black Coffee only jumped in when the movie was done, and he was just the guy who was like, "Except Black Coffee, braga, rekutela saga," you know. And he was like, "What? Let me see what I'm buying into." They showed him, Kagiso showed him the movie. He loved it, and then he popped up whatever he was able to pop up, and that's how we kind of like then got the distribution costs and everything that had to do with Matwetwe finally being out. But I mean, what I'm saying is that we didn't have like those major sponsors that usually sponsor our South African movies. I know that, you know, there's certain companies that are usually involved, or sometimes there's a lot of private investors these movies have that are not part of the Matwetwe production team. You know what I'm saying? We don't have that. So it's very independent to the core, and the kind of story that is being told, the stories that are not format driven according to what people usually look for when they make South African movies or tell South African stories. You know what I'm saying? So then it becomes very unique because of that, and that's why I keep emphasizing the genuineness and the authenticity of the story. You know what I'm saying? Because now it's just like, it just blows everyone away. And I think that's why it has been picking up numbers so dramatically, because now people are like, what is this Matwetwe? You know, and it's so unorthodox in the way that it was made, but at the same time, highly impressive, you know. So I want to say big up to Kagiso Lidiga for that. He actually did a brilliant job in making this movie happen.
One last question. What is this movie going to do for your acting career?
What is it going to do for my acting career? Yeah. I don't know.
You know, everybody believes movies is going to take them to the next level.
But I believe that it will do wonders. You know, I mean, I believe that because I mean, my first intro. You know, the weird thing is that how I got introduced to this thing is that my first introduction into the TV world specifically, because I've been in theater before, was doing The Road in 2014, and it was very fun because my first day of shoot was on my birthday, I remember. You know, and that was my first introduction, and it was kind of like a very small part, but it was on the opening of it opened the season, you know, and people are like, hey, who's that guy? And then, but then after that, I came through Isibaya in 2016, and then I was there for like a full month, and then it started, now traction started picking up, you know.
And then, rising.
Yeah, then you know what I'm saying. And then I think then during that festive holiday after I did Isbaya is when we actually shot Matwetwe. We shot Matwetwe, and then I shot on the last day, because it was an 8-day shoot. I shot on the last day, which I think was the 4th of January 2017, because the shoot started on the 27th of December. And then I shot Matwetwe. And also, I shot Matwetwe. I remember I was coming from a very tragic accident, which I survived. Thank God. And then now the shooting happened, and then you know, and then I just remember being very mellow and kind of like asking myself a lot of questions of what's really gonna happen. Is this really gonna be this movie that I need it to be? You know. And then they were struggling to take it out for some time, but they were shopping it around in different festivals throughout the world. I think it started, the first screening was in Texas, and they went to LA, then they went to Holland, then they went to China, then they went to South America. I don't remember which country in South America, but then they've been shopping it around. And I think when they were in Holland or something, that's where they bumped into Black Coffee and he got on board, you know. And so while all of these things are happening and people keep asking, guys, we heard that there's this movie called Matwetwe, what's happening? Then that's when I got Mubango, you know. Then Mubango kind of like, it put me on. Then just like, yeah, now, you know, because it's like with every... Hello.
Hi, Puti.
Sure.
Dude, I am so sorry. Like, I don't know what's happening today. It's just like too many things.
It's all good. Like, I'm on the road. It's so good.
It's good. Yeah. I'm just happy that you actually like picked up. There's been a lot happening this week. Okay. Can we just maybe start from where you ended?
Okay. I don't remember being with my car.
Bokulmange Film Festival, to see how you guys were doing well in Toronto.
Yeah. So the movie did go like throughout film festivals, a couple of countries, in South America, Texas, Los Angeles, Amsterdam, China, and a whole lot of other places. So it was well received there, even though the culture was different, even though we were using a different language, but they were able to follow the story. also through the subtitles, yes. But also another thing that Kagiso was telling us is that most of the parts that people were reacting to or that were laughing or that are finding hilarious are literally the same parts that even in those countries people were reacting to. So it's a very universal story in that sense. So yeah, man.
I'm glad that you told me about it being a universal story. Like, how can other South Africans relate to this kind of storyline? Because when you speak about it being like Pretoria lingo and everything like that, can other South Africans see themselves in the movie?
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, Joe, it doesn't matter where you come from. As people, we have a lot of common struggles, And then when you look at the storyline, Matwetwe, it's basically two teenagers who just finished matric, they're coming of age, and they're just going through struggles that you find in the hood. So the same struggle you'll find at Richfield, where the movie is based, is the same struggle you're going to go and find in Kuguletu, same struggle you're going to go and find in Kwamashu, same struggle you're going to go and find in Rio de Janeiro and Lagos and all these other places around the world, So we really do have these same struggles and same stories. The only difference is really just the language and the different cultures. But in terms of the situations that we go through, then you realize that sometimes the more different we think we are, it's actually the more we are the same, So then there's the realization that one comes to, which is sometimes finicky about the kind of stories that we tell, thinking that people will not relate, only to find we actually have more in common than we would want to admit, or that we actually are aware of. Yeah.
Well, for me, I really enjoyed it, and I guess I also wanted it to be like longer.
Okay. But then again, sometimes when you make something longer, you risk telling unnecessary things, and which makes you end up dropping the ball. So sometimes it is nice to just go straight to the point, tell the story as it is, and just But that's my opinion, because I mean there are people who enjoy 3-hour-long movies. There are people who like movies to be an hour. So that's just my opinion, really, on that. So yeah.
Can you tell me about the reviews from people? What do people think about the movies who've actually gone to cinema to watch it?
Honestly speaking, the reviews have been amazing. I've been getting phone calls from a lot of people, just telling me that they love the story, they love the device of the narrators, they love how the characters were portrayed, they love the authenticity of the story, they love the humor that's in the story, they love the story in itself, So I've been getting a lot of reviews, and I think all the reviews that I've been getting have been very positive, and this same applies for also the reviews that I've been seeing on social media, That's why I was saying to you earlier that for as much as I'm excited, it's also a very overwhelming process, because it's really that thing of, is this really happening? It's just kind of like difficult to fathom that this is a reality in its own, although it's something that one has always wanted to achieve, but now that it's finally happening, it's like, okay, am I still dreaming? Is it still me in that dream of mine of visualizing? So yeah, but the reviews have been very great, and it also goes back to what I said earlier, Uguti. If you want a story told that you need to find the right kind of people to tell that story. So if there are people, if it's a story that talks to a certain culture, then you need to find people who understand that culture. Because the moment you do that, you might also get other ideas that you never thought of initially, because those people understand the culture, they know how to play around with it, they know how to bring in elements that are not necessarily word specific or specific to the kind of dialogue you have, but they will add on to it and make it much more real and much more fuller, and they even know how to play around more with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, some languages have very poetic metaphors. They have very poetic idioms, and sometimes the only way you'll be able to achieve the authenticity of such things, because sometimes you might be coming from a different cultural space, writing the story about a certain culture, but in the moment you have people of that culture telling the story, they will know that, this line would be much stronger if I say it as an idiom of this nature,
Yeah.
or if I phrase it like
Yeah.
this, or you know what I'm saying, then they don't necessarily have to kind of look at the direct translation of what could it mean in this language, then because they just know how it is said in the actual language, you know.
Yes,
So
true.
so those are nuances that a lot of people usually take for granted, and yet they are very, very important.
How was Kagiso as a director?
He's amazing. I mean, I didn't know what to expect from him, but he's amazing, and I like the fact that he gives us a lot of freedom. You know, I remember when we started shooting, because I shot on the last day. So I remember when we started shooting, I said to him, he's like, yeah. So guys, remember, it's not yet. This thing needs to be very natural, you know.
Yeah.
And then I said to him, I'm like, Kagiso, in Pretoria, a lot of people, and especially this kind of characters that you want us to play, are theatric in nature. They are literally people who are over the top. They over-express the things that they say. It's like, no, let's keep it natural. And I think we did the first take, and then after that, it's like, you know what? Actually, you are right. Now I understand what you meant. Do that thing. You know? So I think what I'm trying to say is that he's very open-minded.
Yeah.
He's very open-minded, and he really allowed us to go home with his characters. He allowed us to stretch and take it as far as we possibly could. I mean, when I look at how the movie was cut, I realized that we actually offered Kagiso so much that I think that he just had to find the right cuts, you know, because all of us as actors were saying, you know, we actually did way more than what we saw on that scene, you know. and then, you know, but that's the thing, he allowed us to go there. He allowed us to really just go in until we felt like we had given it, and then it's like, okay, cool, you know. And then even the parts where we thought that Kagiso, because now it's feeling, it's no longer theater, now we're like Kagiso, now I feel like I'm not acting, and it's like, no, it actually looks good on camera. Then he shows this to us, then it starts making sense that there's that whole natural element, the projections are a bit lower, you know what I'm saying? Then you start realizing all of these dynamics, but it's very patient. I like the fact that he lets you guys have fun while doing the work. He has fun while doing the work. He has a crazy, twisted sense of humor, which I think because.
Hello? No, what's going on?
We didn't play the movie as if we were playing a comedy. We just played the movie, you know. But then he found the comicness of the movie. He found the comical elements, the comical moments when he put it together, and I think they worked out perfectly.
You know, where you at, I'm about to lose you. So the network is starting to drift off. So I'm going to ask you my last question. What do you have to say to South Africans which haven't watched the movie yet?
They must go watch the movie. They will not regret it. It's worth the hype. It's worth all the hype. It's worth all the hype. They must just go and watch that movie. That's all I want to say. They need to go and watch that movie.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nyabonga, thank you so much for being part of Ebioscope sessions with me. I truly, it's been like a struggle for us to like be connecting, but I think we have a fantastic product at the end, and I wish you very, very well with your career.
And look, man, to everyone that's been wondering, because I was playing the character of Teramoloi on Mubango, and people were very disappointed when he left. So to everyone who's been like wondering where this guy went, they need to go and watch Matwetwe. They really need to go out and watch Matwetwe, and they will find Teramoloi there, but playing a different character.
They'll see you in bigger productions in years to come.
Exactly. You know, and thank you very much.
Yeah, but you know, I like this is the interview right now, the way it ended. You know, you being the texting, everything just shows the essence of the movie.
Well, that's it. Thank you so much to Bugzito for being part of the interview. I know it was a hassle, and I was chasing him to work. Besides for that, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel, and of course do like, especially if you enjoyed that. I just want to say to you guys, keep on supporting South African films, especially go and watch this movie. And shout out to Matwetwe for reaching over 2 million rands on the box office. Bye.